Hey everybody, and welcome back to Razor Rocks. So now, if you can remember going back a couple months now, we're doing the scenario a little bit differently in that we've actually teamed up with Brian Andrelczyk over on his YouTube channel, and we're going to do this park as a bit of a back and forth collaborative style, where one of us does one of the coasters, and then we send the park over to the other person, and then they do one, and then send it back, and so on and so forth. The objective is to have 10 different coaster types in the park with an excitement value of at least 6 each. So I got us started, developed a little bit of a pathing network, put in a few flat rides, bit of a park entrance. I did do one coaster in Leap the Rocks here. It doesn't actually meet the minimum excitement value required for the scenario, but that's okay. Just wanted to get a coaster up and running that most people would ride with sort of a medium intensity rating. And then what I requested from Brian was a junior coaster or steel mini coaster in RCT1. And so that's what he did for us here. And it looks really fantastic. It's called Oasis Express. And what he's done is build a really nice little family style junior coaster. It goes in and out of one of the rocks here. Really nice bit of interaction around this plaza with the inverter ships. And then he's set up this beautiful little oasis with a nice little pathing network, a few concession stands. Just really nicely done overall, and some really nice helix elements, one I particularly like over the water here. Really clever use of the quarter tile garden beds, which I often forget to use. The Egyptian style ruins are used really effectively as well. A couple nice little trenches, and really nice color choice too. Now we've got this one actually hits the excitement rating required, so 6.28. So that's one of the 10 coasters done, which is awesome. Now towards the end of his video, which I'll put a link to in the description below, Brian has given the park back to me and requested that I put in, or suggested that I put in perhaps an arrow, a minetrain coaster over on this side of the park. There's not much going on this side of the park at the moment. There's lots happening over here now. I've got 2 coasters, a water ride, and a few flat rides. So yeah, I think it would be good to get something going over this side of the park. So that's what I'll have a go at now. Without further hesitation, let's get into the build and get going. So the first thing I had to do was actually adjust some ride ticket prices for the Crooked House and the Side Friction Coaster. Yeah, the guests were no longer paying what I was offering, so you had to adjust that, which was pretty important to do because income was kind of hard to come by at the moment, just because we've got so few rides. Then just added a few more staff, which I was putting off just again because of the lack of finances. So yeah, I got most of the park. I think all of the park now is covered by a zoned handyman, which is great. Then it was time to finally get stuck into the coaster that Brian had suggested, which was the minetrain coaster. When I was thinking of the minetrain coaster, I immediately kind of thought, let's do an arrow style minetrain, mainly because I wanted to get another family style ride in the park, especially because it was planned to be near the entrance area. So I always like to do the sort of lower intensity coasters near the front of the park. I think that's sort of pretty common in the real world too. So yeah, it's that's kind of what my thinking was there. Got started with sort of I think this is sort of typical of some of the Arrow mine trains, is you have a little drop out of the station, turn around, and you go through sort of the transfer track area, and it's just sort of a flat section before you approach the first lift hill. The first lift hill I made diagonal just because I wanted to get some different angles into the park, which I usually like to do. Also, spoiler alert, I'm going to incorporate several lift hills with this minetrain coaster. But before I could do much more, I had to sort of wait for some money to come in, and I was getting a little bit bored of that. So what I decided to do was put in a Ferris wheel just near the splash boats here and make a little bit of a plaza, just because I thought it would, one, pass the time but not spend too much money, but more importantly perhaps get that soft guest cap up so we could attract more guests to the park. And the Ferris wheel is pretty decent for that. I think it attracts 45 or 50 guests, can't quite remember. So yeah, I wanted to get that in there. And there's also not too many other rides around that. I think the density of rides around this area is kind of what we're going to go for in this park overall, because it is a fairly large map. So yeah, just wanted to continue on the sort of theming, I guess, from Brian's Steel Mini coaster. So I kind of continued on with the some of the palm and I think the rubber trees and the same sort of style shrubs just up the hill there. I didn't use any of the Egyptian ruins, which in hindsight I probably should have, just to make that sort of blend in a little bit more, and maybe some of the quarter tile flower beds as well, but we can go back and do some of that later. I decided to add another concession stand here just at the base of the rock, and just filled in that area with a bit more scenery. Use one of the mine theming huts there, which I always think look quite good. Unfortunately, I got a little bit carried away, as I usually do with scenery, and I spent most of the money intended for the coaster, but that's all good. I did need to make a small adjustment to the coaster anyway. I wanted to just push it out one tile further, just so I could enter on that turnaround into the rock a little bit sooner than what it was before. But yeah, so the idea was to just the first sort of part of the ride was just a little meandering section into a large helix, and then a couple little turns into the next lift hill, which is mostly hidden because it's within the rock. And then it would then go into quite a small section, which I end up going to adjust, which I'm going to adjust a bit later on, just because I think this middle section is a little bit too small. While I'm waiting for more serious money to come in, I do just make sure that we've got enough space for a sort of return track or sort of brake run leading back into the station. It was a little bit of a squeeze getting it in between the Crooked House and the rock, but we do have enough space just in the end. With the rock, I was umming and ahhing about actually going in and out of it. Like I was thinking, for realism purposes, it's probably not the most realistic to go tunnel in the rock a bunch of times, but you know what? It's just a game, and like even if it's not realistic, who cares? And so yeah, that's kind of what I thought. And like just going around the rock only might not be super interesting, particularly with how long the ride is. Feels like somewhat of a missed opportunity. But yeah, anyway, so we finally generate enough money to get started on that last section. So do build in one sort of largest of the lift hills, which I think is how these Arrow mine trains, especially the old school ones, are typically structured. They do like sort of two sections which are kind of similar, but then a final more intense section, sort of as the climax, I guess. So yeah, just build slightly larger lift hill, and then that last section is a little bit quicker, large curve drop into a airtime hill, and then a relatively high speed turnaround. Then a few sort of gentle corners, and then one large final sweep turn, and then a diagonal bit of track into the brake run, which I am emulating with lift hill pieces, just because they kind of look like brakes if you squint a little bit. Yeah, so then the layout was pretty much done. I'd jump into some testing. The results all looked pretty good. I was pretty happy with the overall speed. It was not the fastest coaster in the world, but that's pretty much exactly what I was going for. And then I decided that, you know what, this middle section was just like so much smaller than the the rest than the first and the last. So along with that, I also thought that, like, hey, there's only one sort of tunnel entrance coming out of this side of the rock here, so I thought if I put in sort of a figure 8 element using the S-bend, then I could sort of tunnel in on this side here, and then come out of the side with the larger lift hill one more time as well. And I think that turned out pretty well. So that sort of spread out the number of tunnels, but also increased the length of that midsection, which I think was a good move, and I was pretty happy with the way that turned out. Just trying a slightly different helix piece there near the station, but I decided against that just because there was no supports drawn for some reason. So yeah, I kept that just as a medium turn, or 2 medium turns rather than a helix piece. So yeah, did another bit of testing. All looked good, and so just wanted to do one last change here and sort of get that sort of transfer track building sort of at least somewhat done, just so I didn't have to close and reopen the coaster later down the track. So yeah, just put in that additional tunnel there, or building I should say, and then yeah, it was basically time to open up. And yeah, it was so very happy with the layout. It was a little bit frustrating just having to wait for all the money to roll in, but I think it was worth it in the end. And now we've basically got two sort of high throughput and high income coasters now, which is great. So I'm fingers crossed our money and financial troubles are behind us, and we can now sort of go a bit more unleashed with the scenery and not have to worry too much about money coming in now. I was actually when it opened, I think before scenery, the excitement rating was about 6.5, and after all the decorating, that gets bumped up a little bit. And I think from the start I charged $12 or $13 for a ticket, which is probably way overpriced, but you know what, we needed the money, so I don't feel too bad, and it's a pretty long ride, so I think the guests are getting pretty good value for money. So yeah, now it's basically time to just fill in this whole coaster with some scenery. Now, Brian has set a pretty high bar with the scenery for the junior coaster. His theming as well, it comes as no real surprise. He did a pretty amazing job. So I wanted to at least try and get to a similar standard with the theming here, and just sort of go for a similar amount of detail overall. So I was pretty inspired with the water feature, or the body of water that he put in. I didn't want to put in quite as much as he did, just because we do want that Oasis area to probably stand out as sort of the main, or one of the main bodies of water in the park. So yeah, just wanted to still add in a couple little areas here. Yeah, use lots of the mine scenery pieces. So I don't like putting too many of the mine buildings next to each other, just because they look kind of, I don't know, a little too similar. So I think it's good to sort of spread them out a little bit, and then just I scattered a few of the quarter tile scenery pieces, like the piles of wood and the barrels and the broken wheels. I think they do a good job at just sort of filling in a few little gaps here and there, and I think they really help just forget that you're on a grid playing the game, if that makes sense. Like, they just I think they do a really good job with doing that. I did throw in a few little trees here, just similar sort of trees that I usually use for mine theming in other parks that I do. I didn't want to make it too dense, just because we are in the desert here, but I thought it made sense to at least have a few in, especially near the sort of body of water, which you'd expect to be a little bit more fertile, I guess. And yeah, just in amongst all the mine theme pieces, put in lots and lots of the dark green shrubs, which I think just probably one of my favorite scenery pieces to use. I think they just again they really help make the park look a little less boxy overall, just because you can kind of scatter them, and yeah, I think they really do a great job, and yeah, definitely one of my favorite pieces. And I thought it was time to take a little bit of a pause from the theming here and add in a flat ride with the Gravitron. I thought it would be a good place, and I don't know, for some reason I think a Gravitron just goes well near a mine train coaster. Not sure why. Perhaps it was something I saw in a real theme park before, or it's just something that I kind of stuck with while playing RCT over the years. So yeah, just put in another little body of water. I was struggling to think of a name. It was ended up calling it Dynamite, which I don't know, thought is relatively is a bit standard, I guess, for a mine theme area. Oh yeah, speaking of names, I also struggled to come up with one for the mine train coaster. So if you've got any clever suggestions, I would love to hear them. You guys usually come up with at least a few clever ones that I usually like to go for in the park. And if I don't end up using a suggestion for this one, I might end up using it for one of the other coasters that are coming. So yeah, after that flat ride was down in the Gravitron, just built out a little plaza out the front. The plazas are, again, an idea that I've been taking from Brian Andrelczyk. He just does a really good job of them. Sort of adopted a different pathing style for it as well. I finished off the scenery that I wanted to for now for the mine train coaster. Just had a few little more pieces to do. Added in a little bit of a fence around the side between the Gravitron and the mine train coaster as well. Did the last bit of theming around the Gravitron too. Set up a few ad campaigns just to get a bigger influx of guests going. Added some more staff for the additional pathing, adjusted some ride prices, just filled in a few little more gaps here with the near the Ferris wheel sort of plaza as well, just because I just wanted that area sort of somewhat complete. And yeah, I think that was just about it for this section of the build. So we'll head over to I just ended up extending the railway just a little bit further as well, just to make sure that we don't forget about that. Anyway, that's just about it for the build. We'll now pop over for a quick overview in real time. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this mine train came out. I went for a sort of aerodynamics old school style mine train, so multiple lift hills, has a little pre-drop and turn around with a little flat section, I guess, where some transfer track would be in the little building next to the station platform here. And yeah, then just a couple like really basic little helix elements. As you could probably see, I did a little bit of a modification here, just because the middle section was just a little bit too small, how it just came out of the lift hill and then 1-2 turns and into the next. So yeah, just extended that slightly, and that also meant that I could have another sort of tunnel entrance coming out of this side of the rock. I only had one up until that point, so yeah, I think that turned out relatively nicely. The theming, I just it was a little bit haphazard, but yeah, just lots of little bits of mining theming, and yeah, lots of those quarter tile pieces like barrels and broken wheels and pieces of junk and all that. Yeah, a few little bits of water as well, just because I always think that looks a little bit nicer, and I think it means that the dirt and grass doesn't look as out of place if you've got some water around. Oh, and we also managed to meet the minimum excitement rating of 6. on this coaster as well. So that's now 2 out of the 10 coasters we've got going for the scenario. So yeah, we're getting there. Also just threw in a Gravitron just because I thought it was time for another flat ride over in this area, and started off a little plaza which we can hopefully expand from in the future. Also did a little bit of housekeeping around the park, just with staffing, adjusted ride prices here and there, just so people weren't complaining about tickets being too much. Also added a Ferris wheel over here just next to the Splash Boats ride. It was going to be, I was thinking about putting it over here next to the rock, but I didn't want sort of one side sort of just overlooking the rock face, so I think over here it sits a little nicer, and just continued on sort of what Brian's theming was up until this little plaza here. Probably needs a little bit more work on the blending. Like for one, I think some quarter tile flower beds might look a bit nicer as well. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna pass this back over to Brian now, and I'm thinking it's probably about time that we get sort of a more major coaster in the park going, and I'm thinking a large sort of inverted coaster sort of around this area. Maybe making use of this rock here might be nice. And I think with the multiple coasters we got now, and I think I paid off a little bit of the loan. We've got a bit more money in the bank now. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't hinder Brian on the next part of the build. But anyway, that's just about it for now. Yeah, I'll leave a link to Brian's part 2 where he built this steel mini coaster in the description below. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.